So we're gonna start talking about some Jade cards. So the Jade Lotus cards came out, and we're gonna talk about the the big one, which is the Jade Golem, but also the Rogue. Okay, so most of these cards, for those of you that haven't been keeping up with Hearthstone or whatnot, they all have something to do with summoning a Jade Golem. So I'm in this first batch. I'm going to show you what the Jade Golem does, and right now you see it just like just spam it, like continually incrementing up, and that's how that works. Basically, every time you summon a Jade Golem, the next one will be +1/+1 Jade Golem. So the first one's 1/1, next one's 2/2, next one's 3/3, next one's 4/4. Just so the folks understand it as we're talking about these cards. So these are the rogue cards. So the first one is a spell, Jade Shuriken. It's a 2-mana common, deal 2 damage combo, summon a Jade Golem. So pretty good, I think, for the value, at least, if you can combo it.
I think you can't really evaluate Jade Golem cards individually. I think either you throw all of them in a deck or none of them.
Yeah,
like the Jade Golem mechanic is really not powerful if you only have a couple of them in your deck, and the more you have, the more powerful they get.
Right.
So it's like once we know what all of the Jade Golem cards are, we find the optimal shell to make a Jade Golem deck where we have everything that says Jade Golem in that deck, and then we see how good that is. But like, I can't just look at Jade Shuriken and say, you know, it's garbage unless Jade Golem deck is good, is the way I see it. And there probably is a good Jade Golem deck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, some kind of template.
It's kind of fine even. Like worst case scenario, you just summon a 1/1 and deal 2 damage if you combo it. That's not all too bad. But if you, like, as you say, if you see the upside already having like 3 to 4 Jade Golem stuff played, and then you deal 2 damage and you summon a 4/4, or you just spell damage that thing with an Azure Drake on turn 7 and just, like, you know,
it's crazy.
3 damage something away.
It's crazy.
Like a Flame Tongue Totem, Carter Totem, whatever, and suddenly summon like a 4/4/5/5. But as you say, like, we need to, in the end, know all the Jade Golem cards to see how hardcore that can snowball into oblivion.
But just what you just said there, though, Boney. Worst case, it's a 1/1 with 2 damage. That's worst case. Like, and
it's like a better on the hunt for. Well, I mean,
imagine playing this.
So you think this one's good outside of a Jade Golem deck? It's that good.
Oh, no,
I think it's good there.
Outside.
I think it's actually. I think it's playable there.
It's in like an arena. It would be fine. I think if they had it.
Fine removal turn 2. Just
that's
kill
good
something.
in arena.
Yeah.
It might see playing constructed outside of a Jade Golem.
I actually think it's just like, you know how you eviscerate that knife juggler? Well, fuck it, just Jade Shuriken it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens. I'm exaggerating a bit in terms of like, is this worth a card slot and whatnot? But I don't see why an extra damage dealing tool that deals 2, which is a sweet spot for removing early game minions when you're trying to mitigate aggro as rogue. Like, you have backstab, you have SI, yes, but sometimes you eviscerate 2 drops. If you slap that on top, you've covered your early game. Like, that aggro is not touching you. It's just not coming anywhere close.
I mean,
like
this
you're
card
doubling up or tripling up on 2 damage sources.
This card, in probably a lot of instances, is basically SI agent for 2 mana.
In Jade Golem decks, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but the thing is, like, this is a card you have to combo to get a minion. SI is like a 3/3 with a potential upside, which is like, there's a huge difference there. You can't seize tempo with Jade Shuriken. You can only recover it, if that makes sense.
Right, you can't just proactively make a Jade Golem that easily. Like, you can just
you have to do
play
something
SI on
first.
3.
Yeah, you do have to do something first. Okay, let's look at the Jade Swarmer here, which is a 2-mana 1/1 stealth. It's a common card. Death Rattle, summon a Jade Golem. Like, this card seems a lot worse to me. Like, I don't know. What do you guys see something with stealth here that might be useful?
It's actually amazing.
So?
I find it really funny. Well, the good thing is that it's stealth. I know one HP doesn't survive a lot, but you could Raptor it. You can do the off it.
Oh,
you can play it on turn 2, on turn 3, Raptor
true.
it. And the important part is it's stealth. So you can actually, like, you have it on the board, then you play Shuriken, and then you kill it.
It's our shade. It's our shade.
You can like force the point where it dies, so it summons like a bigger Jade Golem. Yeah. It's like kind of where I find it interesting.
If it were a 1/2, I'd be like, "Dog, you're so right." But a 1/1, I'm like, Maelstrom Portal. I mean,
problem.
But I mean, it's the problem of every, like, this is the reason Patient Assassin is not played, even though it's got, you know, pretty big potential upside, even against Totem Golem. But no one plays it.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, if you compare it to Shade Shuriken here, it's like the difference is like something sits on the board and then you get to choose when to kill it versus you get to play it whenever you want. And you just have to play something before it. I think the Jade Shuriken is just a little stronger there from the situational part. Mostly because there's so much removal that for one health minions too. It's interesting though. It's definitely a different way of accomplishing.
I gotta play on turn 5 with the Raptor.
Yeah, the Raptor is the one part that is kind of cool.
That's the only part that actually makes it interesting.
I mean, you could play. I don't know about it in the Zoth deck. That's the thing is, I think there's a reason to play Journey Below and like just a Jade Golem deck.
Yeah.
Just Jade Golem deck because you could pick this up, or you could pick the Jade Spirit, I think, or I don't know if it's a Death Rattle. I forget.
Too. Holy crap,
like there's Team Pillager. There's Aya Blackpaw, which you can pick up out of Journey Below too.
That card. We're gonna talk about that card soon too. That's a good one too. Okay, I'm just gonna keep the Jade Golem up while we're talking about all these other cards.
Sure,
all right, so we've got the Druid. Oh man. Okay, let's talk about these 2 Druid cards first, and then we'll have Aya right afterwards because Aya I think has a very obvious connection with Druid too. Okay, so the first one, Jade Idol. This is the one like I feel like everybody was talking about either yesterday or the day before. It's a 1 mana common card. Choose one, summon a Jade Golem, or shuffle 3 copies of this card into your deck. So it's basically a Jade version of the Raven Idol. What do you guys think of this? So worst case, summon a 1/1, right?
It makes a mill strategy just completely unable to win.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that makes me kind of sad. I like fatigue being relevant. It's like one of my favorite things about Hearthstone. I don't want every game to go to fatigue, but I think the relevance of fatigue is pretty cool. And I think this just destroys fatigue decks, which is kind of sad. But maybe it won't see play, or maybe it won't see enough play for that to really matter.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe it's not going to be played though, unfortunately. What do you guys think? No,
I just want to play it together with the Auctioneer, and then just go.
Yeah.
Just keep drawing. Like you get shuffling more copies, and then you keep playing Jade Golems whenever you feel like it, and then you keep playing more copies. You keep playing Jade Golem. The thing is, like, if you're at 0 cards left in your deck, you can play Auctioneer Jade Idol and not die. Like that's just...
exactly, and then the fun begins.
I mean, I think you draw into fatigue first, though, right? The first card, like, because you would play it and then it would draw, and then the cards would be shuffled. So you'd probably have to, like, get another Jade Idol in your hand before you do that. Because I don't think it shuffles after the draw. It just shuffles before the draw. It shuffles after. So you probably just draw into fatigue.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have probably maybe you seed it first, and then the second one is where you kind of go nuts on it. But can you imagine if there was a minion that was based off of how many cards you have like left in your deck or whatever? If it was designed that way, God, this card would be just ridiculous.
That's actually a pretty cool concept.
This would break it,
giant or whatever.
This would totally break it though.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, so I mean, to your point, Zalae, I think it totally kills that. Totally kills that. And when we're talking about like what Pony's talking about, you're just talking about filling the board with, Karakazam all the way up to 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
that's basically it.
Shit, man.
It's kind of like this
5, 5, 6,
this
6,
Mill Warrior deck that people were playing. You play Illusionist, and then you go for the Oracles, and in the end, you do the same just with Jade Idol and an Auctioneer, more or less. And then the upside is you don't mill, you just go completely bongos crazy and make 1 bazillion Jade Golems.
Yeah, throw down some Arcane Giants too on top of that too. It's like
why not?
Why not? Too, right?
At that point,
for streaming, it's great.
I can imagine like a Wilds deck with Gazlo and this crap. Like that must be hilarious. Like a Gazlo Jade Idol deck.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna have a bit of fun in Wild with that garbage. I'm sure it's gonna be great fun.
Yeah, there's gonna be more of these cards too. So it's kind of crazy that we're just talking about one or just a few of these. But
Jade Idol is really scary to me. Like the more I look at this, I think this card in any other card game is automatically banned. Like it just the moment it gets printed, people just ban it. Because the reason it's so scary for those who may not understand, because I don't think we actually said it out loud, but it either summons a Jade Golem or you shuffled 3 copies of it into your deck. For those who are listening, the fact that you can play a Jade Idol and shuffle 3 more of them into your deck means the next one you pick up also can shuffle 3 more. So you have an infinite amount you can create, and that's like a single card. 1 card slot in your deck is a self-contained infinite engine. Like that is really rare in card games.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think I've ever seen it. A single slot in your deck that is an infinitely recurring combo. Like that is really mind-blowing, because suddenly you end up in a situation where if any deck relied on fatigue as a win condition,
it's like Zalae was saying, basically. Yeah,
you basically shut it out completely. Like, there's no way that deck has a chance of winning. And the worst part is that the Jade Golems are also substantial. I mean, even as a 1-card slot in like grindy games, if you ever pick up like the Jade Idol and you just shove it into your deck, and then you pick it up later and you just create a Jade Golem, then another one, then another. The other one just shuffles 3 more copies. If you know the game's going to be a stalemate for a while, at some point your Jade Golems are just infinitely larger than your opponent can even answer.
And as stupid as it sounds, but Fenrir Jade Idol.
Yeah. Fenrir Jade Idol is
that's like where
sick.
Then just just do that late game and go crazy.
Yeah, after you have like a bunch of them in your hand, right? Oh my gosh, that'd be insane. All right, so anyways, moving on. We spent like a good 5-10 minutes.
Jade Blossom. This is a card that I like.
Yeah, Jade Blossom. 3 mana. It's a common card. And summon a Jade Golem and gain an empty mana crystal. So there's a ramp aspect to this one. Sounds good to me, man. Like, it's like Wild
It's right
Growth.
between Wild Growth and Mire Keeper, right?
Exactly.
Like, not just in mana costs, but like Wild Growth is you just get the mana crystal. Mire Keeper, you're getting a 3/3 and a mana crystal. This one, you're getting a 1/1, maybe much better than that with a mana crystal. So like,
2/2.
but this one, this is actually like an interesting card potentially outside of Jade Golem decks. Like, obviously, if you're playing a Jade Golem deck, it's just the easiest 2 in your life. You just played like 7 of them that you could or something. But outside of Jade Golem decks, like maybe Ramp Druid becomes more of a thing with this, right? Like we already have these kinds of Ramp Druids, and maybe it's interested in this card. It's another spell for your Arcane Giant. It kind of curves into Nourish or Azure Drake. You can go Coin Wild Growth into Jade Blossom into 5-drop, right? That's kind of the 3 mana slot is sort of an awkward one in Druid decks these days. Like a lot of times you're trying to Wild Growth into a 4-drop, and if you have a Coin Wild Growth hand, you look at your turn 3 and you're like, well, unless he plays Totem Golem on 2 for me to Feral Rage into, I just don't have a clean turn 3 play, and the Jade Blossom kind of fills that niche. So even though I think it's like not super high powered, it may fill a gap in the curve.
Yeah, Druid. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, Druid would take any kind of ramp, like in the first 4 turns, so or 5 turns.
And I mentioned the whole, one of Jade Idols in a deck that is a self-sustained win condition, assuming the game goes long. It's a very narrow case where it'll be relevant, but if you play double Jade Blossom, like, and 1 Idol, that might actually just push it over the top. In a Ram Druid deck, you could play one Jade Idol, 2 Blossoms, and you're good to go. Like, that might actually speed up the process a bit.
It could be enough. Yeah,
because if you play it for ramp, you might as well slap on.
Well, yeah, you're getting the ramp and you're getting that extra minion that your opponent has to remove or spend mana to remove, and that just helps you gain that momentum when you're ramping up, or once you reach that moment, you can play the big minions.
That's just like that turn 3, as Zalae says. It's like the one spot you kind of want to fill. It's always like, usually you go like Raven Idol, Wild Growth, or something with Living Roots or Hearable.
Yeah, totally.
And now you can just go for Jade Blossom, and then you actually end up at 5 mana, where you then want to Nourish or Azure Drake, or like, play the Burgle.
Burgle, dude.
Yeah, it's just like you're suddenly at 5 mana where you want to be. So Jade Blossom is like number 1 okay card. It's not too good, it's not too bad, and it's just a nice one, balanced one.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna move this Jade Blossom card over here, and then let's talk about Aya Blackpaw right here. So first legendary card we're talking about today. It's a 6/6 It's another panda. I like my pandas, as folks know from last week or the week before. It's a 5/3 body, battle cry and death rattle. Summon a Jade Golem. So man, I envision 4/4/3. I mean 3/3 4/4s or 5/5s probably coming from both the death rattle and the battle cry. And if you add that together, the value of this card is insane. And that's not even taking into account late game stuff. So the battle cry is
huge. And you can journey
You
below her,
it.
right?
Yeah, you can. You can get lucky and find her through Journey Below.
Oh my god, it's crazy. So it's a tri card too, by the way, guys.
Shadowcaster! No, I'm fucking with you. Shadowcaster.
What classes can play it?
Shaman, Druid,
Rogue and Druid.
Rogue. Yeah.
This is their Jade Lotus. So Druid can play this. So they have like 3/6 drops that summon Jade Golems.
I mean, this is insane, right?
Yeah.
This value.
I mean, I don't think it's insane on its own. Like, you really need the support of the early game cards. Like, if Rogue plays this and they haven't played the Jade Harvester, whatever the name of that thing is, and they haven't played and been able to combo the Jade Shuriken, then this is just like, what is this? Like a 6/4? Like that is
Well,
bad.
then you're gonna go like Prep, Shuriken, Aya, and on we go. Worst case.
Then you get like a 1/1, a 2/2, and I don't think it's like a terrible card. I think it's great in those all-in Jade Golem decks, but I don't know if Rogue is able to use it right now. Like based on what we've seen, it just doesn't.
I don't know about Rogue, but how about Druid? I mean, it feels like a menagerie warden on a crack kind of thing. Like, you know, it's not even that situational. Like you don't have to have a minion on the board. You just get minions every time you battle cry and die. So, I think Aya Paul's going to die before the Jade, or not going to die before the Jade Golem it creates dies. That's for sure. It's going to be pretty rough having to deal with two of them. That's an incredible tempo play, man.
Yeah, I just like the part that like, let's say you Lightning Storm it and it just pops out another 4/4 maybe, or 5/5. So it's like you really have to have a lot. And you have to deal with more annoying things.
Well, you have to hex this thing just so at least the second one doesn't come out, or I would think. I don't know. You have to consider
it's a great hex target.
Yeah, you have to consider it. That's for sure. Yeah, Zalae, what do you think, man?
If I'm playing a Jade Golem deck, I'm going to slam everything that says Jade Golem in it. Like that's the way the mechanic works.
That's how you start, right?
Just
start with that.
Well, I think, and I might end with that too. Like unless they show me something really bad that says Jade Golem on it, I think literally everything that says Jade Golem is going in the deck.
Well, Cthulhu was a bit different, right? Like there might be a
Cthulhu was a very different mechanic. Cthulhu did not like this one is like the more you play, the better it gets. With Cthulhu, you want just enough to get to 10 so that your twin imps and your whatever your 10 mana thing for the classes works. This is a mechanic where the more you have, the better they all get. And so I'm just going to slam all of them in there, and it's probably correct. It's kind of like the Cthulhu deck building is a lot trickier to do than the Jade Golem deck building.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff you dismiss, like the 2 mana 1/4 that has Stone. But like, do you envision a world in which Blizzard just adds cards that read, give your Jade Golem blah, blah, blah for the rest of the game? You know, like instead of +1/+1, like they have, I don't care which ability, like Taunt or whatever.
Oh, they have like special abilities or something?
Well,
like you would give...
insane.
Well, you say that now, but like, it would be interesting because if it's an age drop that does that, then of course it's less, insane. But I mean, that's the point where you drop this guy, and then it's like, oh, if he ever plays one more golem, I am fucked. Like if we get to that point,
all the removal that they're adding to the game are starting to make sense now to me, because I just don't see how this isn't good.
That's why Devolve is a thing.
I really don't see how Jade Golem decks are not going to be good, and. The one thing, if they are going to end up being good, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but if they are going to end up good, I don't love this design because of how easy it is. It's kind of like Zalae, just put everything that has Jade Golem on it, and you've got a deck that's probably power level pretty decent. Worst case,
it's a deck for the masses. Like everyone can build it. Everyone
super.
It's
good.
so much slower than the Grime Street deck in terms of ramping. I think there's more Grime Street stuff than there is Jade Golem stuff, and I think like this card is, how they added the two mechanics side to side? Mm-hmm. They're trying to incentivize a different pacing. Like the Grime Street start off.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, when you play a 1 mana spell, then you have a 2/2, then you have like a 5/5 already, like by turn 4. And then you just keep going like this. And then the Cabal over there are doing funky stuff with their spells, and they're all trying to clean up the board every time and get to their big win conditions with their Reno decks. So you punch them hard, but they recover. And I don't know if the Jade Golem approach is better than the Grime Street. It certainly seems more consistent because you don't have to have a specific hand texture at any point. But you also you need to have like enough card draw to be able to curve your Jade Golems. Because like if you start your Jade Golem on turn 3, you've played nothing. Like you've had jack shit, and you're making a 1/1 on turn 3, and the opponent is just tearing you apart already in this game.
Sure.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, card draw is definitely the biggest challenge. So thankfully Warlocks can't do this. That'd be crazy. All right, so moving on from the Jade cards, we've got the Priest cards. Yeah, we got some more Priest cards here. Okay, Raza the Chained was a legend card, 5 mana, 5/5 body. We'll get to the second one here in a second. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, so it's got to be Reno deck style, your hero power costs 0 this game.
Wow.
So,
yeah,
it's neat.
It's
neat.
Is that sarcastic and neat, or is that actually a real?
That's a real need. I mean, I don't even play Priest a lot, but even I see the upside of that, especially because it's like a freaking 5-drop, and Priest had Vol'jin on 5. That was like the thing
it's
you
not
kind
really
of
a 5. It's like situational.
Yeah.
Right. This is like you can consistently play this on 5 every time. You don't need a specific board state.
The rest of the game too.
Also, unlike Reno, this doesn't have to be an Reno deck. If you're playing like a deck that's like sometimes activates the Reno clause, like you can have some duplicates and just sometimes it's a 5-mana 5/5 and it's not that bad. Like, yeah, it's worse than Pit Fighter, which people don't play, but you know, if you ever activate the battle cry, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
So Cycle Priest, where you just drop the no cards and then you go Auctioneer Beardo, and you just embrace the shadows, Mind Blast, hit face.
Yeah, that's what. No, seriously. Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
I'm memeing, but it's like I don't think that
specific
I don't think that specific example is like realistic because it's just easier to do with Valid Mind Blast. I mean, it's just a lot simpler. But
you can do it on top of that too. I mean, if you get an Emperor,
you play that in Reno? You'd play Valiant in Reno, or out of Reno.
It's tough because you're losing like a Flash Shield. You're losing a Mind Blast.
I guess you could cut the Darkshire Alchemist for that stuff and like those mid-rangey combo priest, which I'm not a huge fan of.
I don't know. I don't know if there's enough burn without having doubles.
Because, like, read this card as Battle Cry. Like at the beginning of your turn, put an Innervate into your hand. Like that is what it is. Because Priest is always trying to heal something anyway. Like that is a free Innervate for the rest of the game for Priest. They're always needing to top off something, but they can't. They're always needing to top themselves off, but they can't. They just can't. That's the problem with their hero power. It just doesn't.
That's true. One question I want to pose to you guys is that the Inspire decks, right, the Inspire cards have always been undervalued, just garbage. Most of except for maybe Thunderbluff now. But if you can hero power for 0, do any of the Inspire cards actually become intriguing to you?
Are we talking about the Coda Rider?
All of them are
turn 6 combo.
Yes.
All of them are too good if you can hero power for 0. The thing is, a lot of times Raza's not active, right?
Everything.
So, all of the Inspire cards are just insanely broken if you have Raza active, for sure. Yeah. Like, just, I mean, maybe not Tournament Medic or something, but like, but Nexus Champion, Sarada, even whatever that Kodo thing is that makes 3/5, if you're hero powering for 0, that card is great. Really good.
Yeah. I was running it in Priest for a while, trying out like the shenanigans, but it's just not.
Even with Confessor Paeltris, dude.
Yeah.
We should mention the silly infinite combos with Raza. If you can ever get, I think it's called Koldara Drake, the 6-mana 6/6 mage card. If you Thought Steal that, or if you discover it off your 3-mana 2/2.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just get Koldara Drake, you can do infinite hero powers, and then you do anything to turn your hero power into damage, whether that's Alkanai or Embrace the Shadow or Finley, or Shadow Form. Boom, infinite damage. Yeah, it's like the Antonitis thing.
It's super hard to get Caldera Drake, though. I don't think anybody will play Caldera Drake against a Priest.
But it's a good meme deck.
It is a good meme deck.
The format at 3/3 that gives you like a Mage, Warlock, a Priest.
Well, you can do Commander. Commander lets you do it twice, and you can Paeltris twice, or Kodo twice.
Paeltris twice, that's for sure. My question was, by the way, for Raza, like if you play her first before Justicar, I haven't looked at the data.
Oh, I think they showed that, right? Like I think it's still 0 even. Like
I didn't see it.
That's because it says for the game, like
for the game.
Yeah, all of your hero power, whatever you change your hero power to, it costs 0.
So even if you go for Shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow Form and everything.
So like with Shadow Form, you go hero power, Shadow Form, hero power. It costs 0 every time.
Oh, cool.
Well, I know because like some of the other cards that make your hero power 0 works that way. So this definitely works that way.
Just a quick deck building tip: when you're playing with Raza, just start by searching Inspire, and then after that, search Hero Power. And you don't want all of those cards, but you want to think about all of those cards because all of those cards have positive interactions with this. So just search Inspire, search Hero Power, see what you can do.
That's what I love about this card the most, is because I've always been like probably the only person that said that the inspired cards were actually intriguing cards. It was hard to make them playable because of the balance between the power you get from Inspire, mixed with the having the hero power itself, right? So if you make it 0, I think people will start to understand the power of these Inspire cards.
And how broken they really are, because they are like if they're good, they're too good. And
because like Tension Coach,
it's fine to have a legendary that enables that. Like we kind of needed. I almost wonder if Blizzard isn't just trying to give us some time in the sun for those inspired cards, because they were like, man, we released TGT and it did nothing besides Justicar, True Heart, and everyone forgot about them. It's like, okay, let's give them a non-Thunderblood Valiant Inspire card that works. Agreed. And they just slapped Raza and were like, fuck it, priest, have at it. Just enjoy your time in the sun with those Nexus champs, and the
I
Kodo
think so.
Rider is especially interesting for me. But
yeah, Kodo Rider I think is going to be probably the most common use of it. But Paleotris is going to be a lot of fun too. I think Paleotris could end up being the most powerful thing too. But you know, there was Fencing Coach around for a long time. Like Fencing Coach has been around forever. It's just Fencing Coach is just too terrible as a
3-mana 2/2 is not 5.
If it was
5/5.
3/3,
It's 1 time versus infinite.
If it was 3/3 or even like
be
power
very
level,
different.
some of these 3 drops like a 3/4, people would have tried it, and I think you would have seen Inspire actually be
At 3/4, it's overpowered.
at 3/4 it's
exactly.
broken and autoplay.
At 3/3,
but
it might be overpowered.
Yeah, so that's why it's like it was really close. Like some of these Inspire cards were really close to being unlocked, and there's I think you're right, Noxious. You have the point there. Just let them have some time in the sun. Okay, here's the 2-drop, or at least a 2-drop that people have been hoping for, or some type of 2-drop for a priest that was useful. Mana Geode. It's a epic card 2/3. Whenever this minion is healed, summon a 2/2 crystal. So you know, it's still pretty situational. It's not something that's just like a no-brainer that this thing is broken as hell, you know, necessarily. You still have to do some things even just to be able to heal this thing. But it is a 2-drop that the priest can powered shield. They can, you know, definitely keep alive and potentially generate some more value with the 2/2. Yeah. Noxious, you play plenty of priest. What do you think, man?
the most overrated card in the set.
Thank you, Noxious.
Yeah.
I love you,
Simply
buddy.
put,
I
like
knew
I
you
have
were
no
gonna say
words
that.
other than this is like you know how we talked about Priest needs a 2-drop and they gave us a 2-drop that works with Priest. And it's like, do you play Light Warden? No, okay, get out. Like the only problem with this card the only thing that I could see make this card work is like, oh, you have the Arakoa, cool, you're curving. But my problem is if Priest is really, really, really good and everybody's playing Mana Geo, well, guess who's playing Shadow Word Pain? Yeah, Priest. So this card just auto kills itself. Like if the metagame ever becomes good enough to where Priest is dominant, this card is shit. Like it's good and shit at the same time, so it gets cut out.
Well,
It does nothing.
I don't mind it being good against itself. That part of it doesn't
do.
bother me at all, actually.
Okay,
No,
Shadow
I-
Word Pain never makes this card shit. That's just not an issue. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
they use my
exactly.
2-mana card to answer my 2-mana card. It's break even. That's
Right.
fine.
It's
Yeah.
the class. It's the mirror match though that ends up being like in this weird situation where you don't get initiative on this card. You trade your minion for a minion, and your only hope of making that card good was the Dark Arakoa. Like if you're playing this in a typical priest deck that isn't tempo based, I think you're doing it wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking this straight, but the deck I envisioned this in, I should probably build like a rudimentary deck list, but I envisioned something like double Arcane Anomaly, double Young Priestess, double Northshire
Oh,
Cleric,
wow. Okay.
Geode, the Flame Jugglers, and then you play the Dark Arakoa, Soul Fiend, and you just try to get the tempo ball rolling, and then you get the high health count, play Fight Promoter, draw a bunch of cards, replenish, and try again. But I don't see this card fitting in any existing priest decks. Like it's not going to be in Control Priest, it's not going to be Dragon Priest, I don't think. And the only deck it fits in is one that is like already not strong enough on 2 that I don't think this makes it that much better. Like it really needs the support of all the good 1-drops that you can find, and there's like 6 or 8 of them that you can play in priest. It's just almost not enough to make a zoo priest a thing.
Well, you can play like patron style, right? You don't have to use it on 2. You can just go like, okay, let's do the pyromancer thing and
Yeah.
just YOLO out a bunch of 2/1 geodes in the end, which
Yeah, there's
doesn't
this
sound
class
like all
called
too good.
Shaman. They play some cards like
Stop you right
Maelstrom
there.
Portal and Lightning Storm.
Or even Holy Nova, man. Like that's it. Just Holy Nova.
It's kind of a bummer.
Well,
It's like-
I mean, a lot of people do try to talk about this in Patron, but this is much weaker than Patron. Like, if it said whenever any minion is healed, it summons 2/2. I mean, it would be kind
Yeah,
of
that's
crazy,
true.
arguably too powerful if it wasn't for Shaman. But the fact is it's only this minion that heals, and it's like, okay, if it's only this minion, then I'm literally looking at, okay, if we can just get one, so Power Word Shield maybe on turn 3, remove something, and then heal it up again. And then all of a sudden it makes that hero power worth something, worth something good there. But outside of that, in the Arakoa example you keep bringing up, Noxious, it's
I think Erico is the wrong name, right?
Not
the
Erico,
correct
it's
Come
class.
on, Talon Priest.
yeah, it's the 3/4 that gives 3, right? The battle cry, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just have to play it on turn 5 then, but then it's not a 2-drop anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a thing.
It
Again,
could,
you
yeah.
can make it work.
It could, but it's not super powerful I think, to your point. And the priest, generally speaking, the priest that everybody's talking about, I mean, I don't think the one thing I haven't been impressed with the priest is just that there's no new archetypes that we're seeing. It's just basically, okay, Dragon Priest is going to be strong. Maybe the combo will make itself back, but
I think Reno Priest is a pretty new. I mean,
Reno Priest is what they're trying to push.
Pretty damn
right. I guess Reno Priest they're trying to push.
Viability
I just don't see what Reno Priest is yet. But the others, if it's not Reno Priest, the everything else that I can kind of see happening, it's already archetypes that people have been trying for a while now. So,
right.
Yeah, maybe it is the Reno Priest that's going to be new and exciting.
I can tell you what Reno Priest is. It's Raza and 29 cards. And boy, you really want that Raza because Reno Priest is a bad deck. It's really bad. Like, the Priest cards are all about synergy with each other. And when they're all one-ofs, you're not getting that synergy with each other very often. But this card, Raza, is so crazy.
Well, it opens up
absurdly
more
strong.
cards. It just opens up all the Inspire cards, like we said. So it opens up more cards that you can add to a singleton deck. Right now,
right, but those draws without Raza, where you have those Inspire cards and you're a priest and you don't have Raza, you're like, oh no.
Exactly.
Last 10 cards, last 5 cards.
Yeah.
May the fun begin.
Absolutely.
Good luck getting that far.
All right, let's talk about a Warlock card. Only Warlock card this week, because we've seen a lot of them already. 6 mana card. It's a spell. It's a rare card. Fellfire Potion. Deal 5 damage to all characters.
With Cho'Gall.
Yeah,
maybe not the greatest synergy.
Ouch. That's like 11 damage. And you
well,
kill
afterwards
Cho'Gall?
you play Molten Giant, so
I like where you're thinking.
Yeah.
Guys, like turn 9, like the guy's got like turn 8. He just goes like Fellfire, like Cho'Gall, Fellfire Potion, drop double Molten,
Oh
Sun
my
Fury. Like turn 9 after the Cho'Gall was played.
You need to get an Emperor discount or two so that you can go like
Easy.
Cho'Gall, Fellfire, Molten Giant, Reno.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the turn.
Oh my
That's
God.
the game plan you're looking for, and that way you reset the game and die to Brawl, and then you can play your real game, which are actually that's where the game really starts.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Well, with obviously a big theme of Warlock is removal, right? We've seen the Abyssal Infernal or whatever it was last week. That's basically a Hellfire with a 6/6, and now this and definitely adding removal to Warlock is good. So I don't know, maybe the Reno Warlock gets better, maybe a control-oriented Warlock gets better, but I don't know. All these other classes having such tempo plays, I'm kind of starting to realize why Warlock has these removal cards, because they're going to need it.
Yeah, this is a powerful card, but like 5 damage to your own face as Warlock is really tough.
Yeah. With no heals on the horizon.
Good, like if you've played this before the Thunderblood Valiant, you literally reset. Like there's nothing left. There's nothing left, right? Unless I'm mistaken.
Right. But you do take 5, and then they get to develop on an empty board first.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
If you could Hellfire Potion and then play Molten Giant, I'd be really into that. But the Molten Giant sucks. So
But they starve for cards, right? I don't think you do as Warlock against them. Like if you clean up that board mid game, I think you're able to stabilize pretty hard. I mean, there's already a handlock being played right now on ladder.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited to see how Fellfire Potion goes, if it's good enough to see play in Reno Lock. It's interesting. It might be great.
I still think heal needs to be there somewhere. You can't just heal from what we... I think there needs to be another heal card added to the game somewhere.
I miss Healbot.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they've got Cabal. They've actually added Kazakus to all the classes that can use Reno-like effects. Like you've got.
Oh, okay, but
you've got Mage that can play it for free, the potion, the 10 costs. You've got Priest that can probably get there because Raza, and you've got Warlock that can just Cho'Gall it. Like I don't know if it's worth it, but
yeah, but Cho'Gall it, you're just damaging yourself for how much you're healing.
And resetting
anyway.
the health, but you're getting an effect on top of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's. It depends on what the effects all are. I don't know them all, but 6 damage to all minions seems pretty board clear heavy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go move on to the Shaman card. So finally, we're starting to see Shaman cards, and before this, I was actually a little worried, like why they hadn't showed us Shaman cards, because maybe they were going to be powerful.
They're not going to
more Spirit Claws.
They'll just leave it like it is.
Yeah, but after seeing this, I'm like, oh, okay, okay, all right, this is interesting. So let's start off with the one that was announced, I think earlier today. It's 4 mana spell. Call in the Finishers. Common, summon 4 1/1 Murlocs.
I flared my nostrils with amusement.
I didn't even get it like originally until I thought about it a little bit. But okay, this card, 4 Murlocs. I mean, are there any other support for Murloc besides the?
This is a combo with that thing where your Murlocs make the thing cheaper.
Cheaper,
+2,
yeah.
+2 is your
Everything
stuff.
can happen. Or everything is awesome, I think. So it costs you
Yeah.
like 3. So for 7 mana, you effectively get a full board, like 4 3/3s.
Yeah,
by the
4
way.
3/3s.
Good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Anything with the tiny fin on top, it actually gets. Actually, this is an easy way to go ahead and play that thing for free because there's probably you can probably get a bunch of Murlocs on the board.
No, I wouldn't say probably.
I don't know.
They have to hold them
you-
all usually.
There's this class Shaman. I don't know if you've heard of it. Sometimes they play like Maelstrom Portal, Lightning
yeah.
Storm. It's actually a little bit tough to stick a board against those guys.
And then there's this
Okay.
there's this class also called Warlock that has like how many
I'll take
the
word for it.
removals and there's a class called Priest too that has all this crazy stuff. So yeah. It's pretty hard to play. I think that type of shaman, but it's been long overdue though. They've had this any fin is awesome or whatever card forever now. I mean that card's going to be retired actually, right? In the next reset.
Yeah, never gonna really seen any use.
We're not gonna even see that card being used. So
And with Devolve anyway, you might not.
yeah. So the next, anyways, moving on. Next card is another Jade Golem card, 4 mana, common card, Jade Lightning, deal 4 damage, summon a Jade Golem. All right, compare this to, I guess you can compare it to the Rogue card, right? That does 2, the shirt.
Or swipe, or whatever.
Kind of like this better than the Rogue card because
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
I think so.
I like because no overload. It's like 4 damage, 1/1, worst case, and well, you kill an Azure Drake
There's
with
this
it.
card, how's it called? Lava Burst? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you want to kill a Azure Drake, you either Lava Burst or you Jade Lightning. I'll take my chances with Jade Lightning. I think this card is just good no matter where
Just straight up.
you
Yeah.
play it. I
Okay.
think
I
it's
don't
just
know.
a straight
I
up
don't-
good card.
It's
In a control
close to
shaman?
that. I don't know if it's a straight up good card. Like nobody ever wanted to Lava Burst an Azure Drake in the first place. Like that's not a fair comparison, right?
Yeah.
You want a Lava Burst because it's 3 mana.
It's
I
'cause
win
it's
the
3
game.
mana.
You're
Well, how
dead
about
now.
how about Jade Lightning?
And Jade
in the
Lightning
face?
does not. It costs 1 more and deals 1 less, right?
Yeah.
So, but it is much better as a board control card. But is it okay as a board control? Like how good is Shadow Bolt? And then this it's okay. Yeah, it's pretty good, I guess.
I mean, to come in for arena, it's gonna be like a nice thing. Like you can draft 2 of those or 3 maybe, plus like 1 or 2 other. Could be interesting. Like maybe not definitely for constructed, but in arena you might pick it. Not the worst stat on turn
I'm
4.
picking this. I'm putting this in my control shaman. The list is loose enough that you can fit this in.
So
I could use some more spot removal that isn't terrible. Like Stormcrack is good, but I'd triple up on Stormcracks if I could. Like that's what I do.
So on a different, like completely different, spectrum of decks, this is another burn face card actually.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? With Shaman, before Crackle was obviously right, and this is adding. I mean, it's expensive though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, it's not efficient. So like Crackle was 4.5 damage on average for 2 mana up front. This is 4 damage.
Yeah.
For 4 mana, so it's not nearly efficient. However, burn cards do kind of get better with other burn cards, right? Like the strategy as a whole gets better the more like
You
consistent
get
it is. The more you have, the more you have of it, right?
Yeah.
So it maybe, and it is. I think it is like kind of this and the Wild Growth one are kind of the strongest of the Jade Golem cards. They're cards that might be playable outside of Jade Golem decks. I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
The most versatile or
I'll
flexible.
just mention that we don't know yet what the other cards are, and if they're any good Jade Golem cards, this card is batshit crazy. Like if
There has to
because
be. Yeah.
if they have good Jade Golem generation, for instance, then this could be control shaman's win condition type stuff. Like when they just don't have threats, then hey, might as well just slap Jade Lightning on top of everything else I'm already doing. So I think it's going to be more on the control side of things, more so than like the typical decks we're used to now. Like you have to remember that the rotation hits and we're losing a bunch of totem synergy. I don't know how much Blizzard is going to push shaman towards being spell damage control based, because that's a possibility. They could definitely push them to go in that direction.
Yeah, Shaman's going to get gutted, like to an extent. Definitely.
And that's
when the reset
good.
happens. Yeah, I mean that's why they have this period of super power, like powerfulness with the Spirit Claws and the Maelstrom Portal, with the Trog and the Totem Golem. But 2 of those things are going to go away soon. So.
That's not soon. That's so many months.
Yeah,
from
we
now.
always say
It's
soon,
3
but
months. Oh
it's
my
a long
gosh! Come
time.
on, it's not that far away, is it? Like 3.5 months.
So much happens in 3 months. I
Yeah,
don't know.
true,
I have to
true.
play a lot of games of Hearthstone.
Well, the scary thing is that there I mean, if you look at what the Druid got for Jade Golem, there has to be some good stuff Jade Golem wise. I mean, this is only the first one. There has to be at least another Jade Golem card specific to Shaman. So
there must be. I'm imagining like 2 out of the. Well, how many did they get each?
They at least got 2, right? So Idol and
how many cards do you get total? Like how many did Druid get?
Oh, they get 9. I mean, they get 9 in total, right? Class cards.
So I'm thinking there's going to be at least 2 to 3 more. I'm going to say 3 more Jade Golden cards for Shaman.
Scary, man.
that's the thing is they're not going back to that theme, right? I think they mentioned that this was the only time they did tri-class cards, and I'm assuming that's going to be the last time they do Jade Golden cards, because like that's faction based, the whole Jade Lotus thing.
Yeah.
So if that's the last time we see that theme, then they better like stack up quite a few cards for that.
It just means it's going to be super strong. Okay, well, the last one is a spell. It's a 2 mana rare card, Devolve. So opposite of Evolve, obviously. Transform all enemy minions into random ones that cost 1 less. So yeah, it's pretty much the opposite of Evolve. You're going to be transforming your opponent's minions and transforming them down 1. It's a transform card. You know, like a lot of people think this is garbage, but you know, transformation cards are powerful
absolutely. It's like Savannah's.
Yeah.
Evolve.
Any death rattle.
Yeah, exactly.
You already had Hex as the issue though, because that's the reason people don't like the card is they say, well, I already have Hex. Do I need a 3rd Hex? That's the only time you use this really is when you need to like a 3rd Hex, I think. And I think for instance, Control Shaman can cut one of their spells for a single Devolve, and it's fine. Likewise with Jade Lightning. I think Control Shaman is getting actually a lot of flexibility love in the set so far. Like the flexibility of the stuff I get is really awesome. Like that's one of the decks I've played the most with Blood Warriors. So it's just like I really like that archetype.
Thoughts on Devolve? Yeah.
It's AoE, right? Like Hex is spot removal, Devolve is AoE, like it's all. So Shaman has really good AoE tools, and this seems worse than the currently existing Shaman AoE tools in my view.
Well, depending on the decks, I guess, because against Zoo, one of the like annoying things is their 1-drops. Like as if you don't have, as Control Shaman without Storm, like it's pretty tough if you end up falling behind a bit. What if I can make the 1-drops all Wisps? Then I'm down for that. Like they're all becoming 1-1s for sure.
Are you going to cut a Storm or a Portal for this, or do you want a 5th AoE effect?
Well, I
might actually cut one of the 2. The Overload is really punishing.
I would not.
Shaman.
I wouldn't. Well, so if N'Zoth decks get popular again, I think Devolve is like the counter to basically N'Zoth decks. Like any of those Twilight Summoners, those scenarios where
we already have Hex. You already counter N'Zoth decks.
No, but we're talking about like a full N'Zoth deck, not just like a couple of them. So not just the Sylvanas, not just that. I mean, when you're talking about Torrens and you know all that crazy stuff, like it is removable with 1 card after a Devolve, versus you know you'd have to play 2. You'd have to play like Animal Destruction, or at least a Maelstrom Portal or Lightning Storm into a Elemental Destruction to actually clear the board, right? So
I think this is just a good counter to Grime Street decks. Like that's just it. You
also,
buff
that too. Yeah,
like
rip that helps.
Rip your buffs. They're just gone. I don't think we needed more buff hate in the game because they already like buffs seem pretty crappy in general. But like you know we used to talk all of us about hey you know that Flood Paladin with a bunch of 1-drops. Oh fuck off! Like it's gone. That's just. You can't.
It turns back into little mini men. They all turn back into
tiny fins or
wisps.
One of the things I love about it though is that's a great tech card against any fin can happen, Pally. Like that's where I think it kind of does better. It's another transform effect that isn't Tinkmaster level random. That's pretty good. It's got to be good.
It's powerful.
It's decent. It's like not overpowered. It's decent. It's okay to play, and it can be really great in certain situations, I guess.
I think there's a world in which like this card is so beyond busted, we're not even seeing it.
Well, it's a counter tech card. That's what it is.
Right? I wouldn't even be surprised if you told me this was insane.
I don't think it can be insane.
I think this card is bad. It's too situational. There's spots where it's insanely good for sure. And I think too often it's like quite weak.
I would not be surprised if it was really, really, really good.
Well, yeah. I think on ladder it probably is not going to be like consistent enough for ladder, but for events, depending on the format, I think this card could be great. Like, let's just throw out like I don't know sideboard. If there was some kind of sideboard format, this card would be actually pretty darn good. Like as a potential sideboard card, depending on what is popular in the meta or whatnot. It can be used specifically for things, and events at least allow for that kind of thing.
Situationally very powerful. I think it's kind of like bad right now, but I can definitely imagine like future formats where things have changed a lot. It could be much more powerful, right?
Yeah, I think in the right meta, that thing is just kind of an auto include, but right now it's not quite there yet. We'll have to wait.
All right. Well, that's gonna be it for the cards, guys. That was some good stuff. We had some good cards to discuss this week.
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
That's it, man. We went through like I don't know, 20 cards. Was there a card announced? Did we miss a card here?
We missed the 6 drop for Druid, that's for sure.
We did miss a 6 drop for Druid. Oh, you mean
6
like
mana 3/6 that summons a Jade Golem?
Oh, Jade Behemoth.
That basically makes Aya
Oh
Blackball
my
even more
gosh.
insane because
Okay,
suddenly
Jade
you have 3
Behemoth.
turn 6
Holy
plays
smokes.
that work off of each other, and you have Jade Blossom,
Oh,
which
3/6.
turn 6 a
Oh,
lot
wow.
faster.
No, and they changed Jade Idol to a rare. Actually, they just
Good.
saw the tweet. They changed Jade Idol to rare and not common anymore.
That totally changes everything about it.
Totally changed the arena. Like
It changes
that's
it-
the only.
well, that just means they're going to be playing it in Arena. So the Jade stuff will be in Arena. Yeah, that's what it signifies to me, at least. But let's look at this card real quick. So this is the Jade Behemoth that they announced here. So, somebody's talking, man. So yeah, 3/6. What do you guys think about 3/6 taunt?
Well, it's clearly not good enough without Jade Golem support. Like 6 mana, 3/6 taunt plus a 1/1. You know, that's just not strong enough for what you're paying for it. But with Jade Golem support, I think it's clearly bonkers, right? If you're playing Jade Golem deck, jam everything that says Jade Golem in there, including this one.
I mean, it's insane, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how can
I
Jade
like that it
Golem
has
deck
taunt.
not be good? It's crazy. I mean,
I think Priest and Druid are going to be the best 2 classes.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of priest?
I don't even
Just
think.
Dragon Priest
Dragon
will
Priest,
shit on Druid. Like, are the early
There's
characters-
that card called Raza, you know,
Ruben.
Raza Priest.
The what?
Yeah, I don't buy it. I think Raza's so strong, but what it fits in is so bad.
Yeah,
but I think Dragon
I'll
Priest
just
is
play
scary.
Control Priest. Dragon Priest and Druid will probably take a shit on everyone at first, and then we'll see if the metagame stabilizes. That's my expectation, just based on the cards we've seen and the general trends of Hearthstone in the past, in terms of like what it means to have a certain type of minion.
The Dragon Priest is so boring, though.
I don't
I'm
want to
sorry.
play. I don't want to play that deck.
Man.
I won't even
Yeah.
build it. I'm not even playing Dragon Priest. I'm not even building it. I already know for a fact that I've tried it every single time. It's been remotely playable, and I've never enjoyed it. So I hope it's not too good.
There's just no decision.
There was a Dragon Priest I enjoyed once. There was it was with Genie.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Genie Zephyrs,
Yeah,
the coffee
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Dragon Genie
That's
Priest
it.
was a good time.
Oh,
I enjoyed
that was
fun,
such a
though.
short time, though. But yeah, that was fun. I'll give you that.
Man.
But yeah, it'll be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be very excited to see the race that basically Jade Golem Druid has with a Dragon Priest when they go at each other. Because at a certain point, if the Priest doesn't have enough tempo, then the Druid is gonna run.
They
them
get
over.
buried. But the thing is,
They're
like,
gonna run them
with
over.
that's why the 6 minute 3/6 is such a big deal, because it dies to a lot of stuff Priest does, and it's cool. But if Priest is already on board with a 5 minute 5/6, rip your board, dude. Bookworm comes out and you are screwed out of your life. Like, good lord, it's really spooky as a druid.
Yeah, Druid can't come back with spells, so they have to come back with just bigger minions. And I don't know. I'm just scared about the Druid just being, holy shit! I'm putting 8/8s down, like on, like 8/8s and 9/9s down on turn 8. You know, just as a single turn. That's freaking ridiculous. So,
That's the crazy part is, like, you get a wild growth into like an innervate, the 6 mana 3/6.
yeah.
If you're not against Priest, you're probably gonna have a good time.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do some Q&A, guys, before we go. We got a bunch of email questions this week, so thank you so much for writing those in. And if you want to get your questions in next week, go ahead and email valuetown@chanmanv.tv, and you'll be able to do that. Actually, before we do that, I wanted to give a shout out to all our iTunes and patrons here. So for those of you that do listen to the show on iTunes, it helps us out in a big way if you guys leave a review and leave a 5-star, so people can find us when they're searching for Hearthstone podcasts. So I want to give a shout out to Boondoggle, Pure 623, and Ajax Dutchman for the last few reviews and the nice words that they left there. Also, our patrons. We can't do the show, guys, without you guys, the patrons. The show is 100% backed by and funded by you guys, the community and the patrons. And I wanted to give a huge thanks to our producer and legendary producers, Mike T and Lewis G, as well as a few others: Albert M, Gregory W, Chloe C, Matthias S, Bruce W, NorCal BW, David T, and Elu45. Thanks so much for being patrons, and if you guys enjoy the show, you guys want the show to continue in 2017, definitely go to patreon.com/valuetown and think about pledging to it, because it definitely helps in a big way. Currently, we've met our milestone that we need. We just need to maintain that milestone. So thank you so much to all the folks. And now that we have Noxious and Zalae on here, thanks so much for you guys for doing that. And I don't think we've made our next milestone, which is we basically allocate a moment on the show for a big smile fest. So just because we have
a big smile fest,
yes. I can't wait to get
that is
Ray
amazing.
On the show.
I'm down for
get
that.
Ray on the show and have him have to do that, dude. We're $6 away from that, so
he's not doing that, dude. I don't think
he'll do it.
He's gonna be like, you know what? Fuck off.
Maybe for $7 though. Maybe $7.
Maybe $7. Actually, Ray would have been here if it wasn't for Dreamhack, so he'll be on very soon. So make that happen, guys, before he's on, because that will be freaking awesome. Okay, let's go on to some emails here. Let's see. First question from John Bin Butzel. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you guys as disappointed as I am with the BlizzCon? We received no feature or process change. I was holding out hope for an arena ladder leaderboard or some sort of tiered standard ladder system update that doesn't just reward time commitment and grind, maybe only dropping 5 rank buckets every season or moving 1 star per rank down the line from 20. Do you guys think we'll see these or something like these? I'm a new father, simply do not have time to take time it takes to hit legend, but easily hit rank 5 every season. Thanks for reading and putting together a great podcast. So I guess they announced it at BlizzCon first. Were you guys expecting more than just, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan? Ponyhoff, what are your thoughts?
Nah, I actually just expected the expansions. Blizzard is just slow when it comes down to that. Also, the problem is, we can't give people a lot of stats, for example, because if the average player sees his stats, he's never going to play Hearthstone again. He's like, I have a 30% win rate. I'm pretty good at this game. So that's like not happening. But I would love arena leaderboards. That's like, there's no reason why this doesn't exist at all.
Do it external. It doesn't even have to be in the game. Just put it on the Blizzard.
Internal's better, but external would be good too.
For hack's sake.
Yeah, do Battle.net, Hearthstone, whatever. Just
arena leaderboards would be so awesome. I would love that.
Yeah,
like that's why I don't play arena. There's just like nothing competitive about it to me. I'm just like I don't know. Got 12 wins, okay.
Yeah.
Congrats. Now go on to your next run and get 12 wins again, dude.
I think it was Crypt that said that he doesn't like that idea, which is kind of interesting.
Why is that?
I think he just thinks it promotes it
promotes mage.
It promotes it promotes
I can see that argument. Yeah.
It can definitely
you need to fix game balance to go with this a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in the beginning, but in the end, I mean, if you want to have fun, you'll just vary. I mean, you pick crazy cards too, like Servant of Yogg-Saron.
That's a really good
you
point.
Want YOLO.
You need to fix class balance if you're going to create a leaderboard. Otherwise, you're forcing people to play what they don't want to play in order to compete, and that's a real feels bad man moment. Let me tell you about that.
That's true, definitely. And then lastly, what do you think about just the starting ranks every season? I mean, is there really any point of dropping that to freaking 15 anymore? I mean, could they just?
Blizzard clearly thinks so. I don't like the system. I wish
they don't think so. They're not changing the system because if they were changing it, they're gonna do it as like their quote unquote final revision. I think, but I don't think they.
Why would it have to be a final revision? It's a living game. You can continuously change things.
You don't even don't. I'm not we're not arguing from a logic standpoint here. We're trying to argue from a administrative standpoint. Like the company's grown so big, from my understanding at least, that every single thing you do usually
process.
The process time is pretty huge in terms of how much verification goes into it. So if you make those changes, they take a lot of time for a lot of people, and if it's going to be a temporary fix, then it better be a priority that makes people quit in droves. Otherwise, that's a lot of effort for very little return. I agree with you that I don't like the system. I don't think anybody does, and I don't think Blizzard likes it either. They've mentioned that they don't like the ladder system as it stands, not just the grinding, but the whole monthly reset into meaninglessness. It's just it feels bad.
Yeah, but I mean, all he's asking for is just that the starting point is higher, and I agree with that. Like, I'm tired of starting at 15. I'm like, why not start at 10 or something like that? It's a little better.
For them, I'm down. But...
Yeah, I mean, there's no huge benefit or I don't know anything. Like
before, I was on the other hand, I like starting at 16 sometimes. Then I just play. I make the first 6 ranks with a super crazy wonky decks, and then I just start going slowly more serious the lower you go. Yeah, so it's just from a fun standpoint, like you go for Mill Rogue, you play Inspire whatsoever, you play I don't know what Villain Priest.
You can still do
suddenly
that,
from rank 10
Yeah, you
on,
can do
you
that in
start
Wild.
go a bit more serious.
No, I mean you can do that at rank 10 too. I mean, if everybody started at rank 10, you can do that again and just drop down. You know, it's just this guy who doesn't have much time is basically saying that, you know, I just would prefer just to immediately start at like rank 10 versus, you know, rank 15.
Well, you could pay $10 to just rank up. You just like pay $10 per rank, and then
I want to say like ranks are not equal. Like
yeah,
if you get to 5 every season, starting at 10 instead of 15, it's never going to get you to legend.
yeah.
It might get you to like rank 4 or 3 at the most.
It's not gonna matter much. Like the issue is like when you
the ranks get so much harder.
Yeah. Like if you're in legend and you drop to rank, like number one, dropping to rank 5 right away would be like a blessing. That'd be like step one. Just like at least rank 5, help me out.
Yeah.
Maybe rank 3. That'd be great. You know, if
I think legend to 5 is like a pretty reasonable drop off every month. Like I think that's really fair.
It's like it's the beginning of it, because like if you don't win, like let's assume you go with a really good win rate, but you don't win streak from 16 and to 5, it's hell. It's like it's just
it's
the worst feeling. It's like you're playing actual rank 5, but you're not streaking, so it just sucks. Like that's the worst.
That's the grind.
Like one win, one loss.
Yeah.
One win, one loss. Like that is just depressing. And you can climb through 5 with that, but it's just.
It's the grind, man. That's exactly what it is. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Royce Brown asks, I'm a podcast listener, big fan of the show. He asks, let's see, I've looked at the numbers, and the Gadgetzan meta will have the deepest card pool in history of standard Hearthstone by a significant margin. 897 cards compared to the 739 when League was released, 720 when the first standard rotation hit, and 765 in the current meta. What effect do you all think this will have on the game? We see an extremely refined meta at present. Do you think this will result in more diversity or more majority, or will a vast majority of these cards be lost in the shuffle? Will the meta become faster? Can the Can the way Wild has operated teach us anything about what to expect with this many resources? Okay, that's a good question. So we have like it looks like we will have an additional this full set will be in addition to what used to be the max cards we've had. So we're gonna have basically 130 more cards than we've ever had. So having access to that many more cards, are we gonna have more diversity to the metagame, or do you see it being pretty much the same? Anything different there, or any effects for having more cards?
Well, as a general rule, more cards in a metagame allows for more diversity. There are exceptions to that, where if something broken is allowed to exist, shaman. But generally, a bigger metagame has like more potential answers, and there creates for more balanced options. As long as you just kind of stomp on some of the overpowered stuff from time to time. Like maybe don't give the best class the best cards with Spirit Claws and Maelstrom Portals.
That really did hurt a lot. I think it's kind of funny because, we remember the days of Undertaker, Hunter, and all those really, really overpowered decks that were stifling the meta, or overpowered cards, rather, should I say. Not decks, but just cards, if you really look at it. And now we're in a position where there's no individual card responsible for our misery.
It's just like
cards. It's a lot of cards that are just blatantly responsible.
Yeah.
That if they're fine individually, but the moment you start stacking all of them together,
he's right.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, he's right. Like Trog and Trog and Totem Golem by itself, it's strong, but it wasn't oppressive. Now with Spirit Claws and Maelstrom Portal, like if you just take 2 of those, or those 2 sets separately, then it's not nearly as oppressive and terrible. Like the other classes have a shot at getting early game, at least a shot.
I'll put it that way. I think Spirit Claws was designed to incentivize a type of deck that wasn't just hero power, get a spell damage source, right? I think there had an idea behind it that was more akin to that of Master of Ceremonies. It sounds janky as fuck, but I think a lot of they knew what they were doing in terms of, hey, this card can be played anywhere, but we want to encourage people to try out this archetype that they don't necessarily play right now. The issue is it wasn't tuned properly to where it wasn't playable in typical decks, but it was playable in those decks. It's not there, unfortunately. So because of the slight error in tuning, I think that's why we end up with the stuff we have.
Well, it's just mistiming too, with just how they powered everything.
Just release it with mean streets, and then we have it like 2 months and not 5 or 6 now. Or
when we see the reset in March, I think is when things will
shake up.
Yes, things will really shake up, and we'll see We'll see a lot of new things happen. Until then, it's not going to happen next month, all right, guys?
No.
So, like Zalae says, we still got like 3 months of grudging through that. But once March comes, it's going to be really, really great.
Like there's no reason for the meta to like for Shaman to change. Like, okay, new decks are coming, but yeah, just tech in the one or the other card and still play it like it is, more or less, and snowball early game to death.
Yeah. Okay.
Dragon Priest might give them like honestly the potion stuff is good. Fellfire Pot and Dragon Fire just give me hope. Like those cards seem like they could keep in check some of the stuff those decks are doing.
Okay, so next question we've got here is Honeybee asks, I'm helping my friend to get into Hearthstone lately, but I'm struggling to give them good advice for how to progress forward. They did all the starter things like Secret Quests, leveling up to 10, and they bought the Welcome Pack. What would be the best value for the money? Buy more packs or get one of the adventures? One Night of Karazhan seems like a very good investment, but it has some strong cards and won't rotate out soon, but I heard people talk negatively about it also. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on new player experience and what advice you would give. That's like always the toughest question right now. Like,
go ahead, Zalae.
Yeah. Adventures over packs every time, right? I don't think it's ever close.
Definitely. Adventures over packs.
But don't buy adventures with gold. Buy them with money.
It takes money, yeah.
It takes too long.
And I'd like to point out also that people speak ill of Gadgetzan not because it was a bad expansion in terms of card quality, just because it changed nothing and everything got worse. It's like, the cards are good. If your friend wants to win, then Jesus Christ, should he get Karazhan and just play midrange Shaman, which is a pretty cheap deck. Considered. It's a very cheap deck, dust-wise. Like, your friend wants to progress, okay, craft, like, Thunderblood, Valiance, and TGT. Don't go ahead and buy, like, a ton of packs for that set, and then just go in, craft the midrange Shaman, and get Karazhan, because that's going to increase your win rate by, like, 40%. So, it's pretty crazy to think that, like, we don't like Karazhan, but it contains so many good cards. Like, Onyx Bishop, it sucks to me that, like, Onyx Bishop and Priest of the Feast are in there, but I'm just not capable of playing Priest, or it's not doing as much as I'd like. Like, those cards are good, but they're not working right now. So the set will become better once the old cards rotate out in March or whatever that's going to happen. The next set happens after December. When the rotation hits, like, Karazhan will be good. So your friend should get it. Like, I just think your friend should get it.
Another thing, too, with, like, people just getting into the game that I would recommend is just focus on one deck. You know, like, don't try to get every single deck that's good right now, because you just won't. Like, it's going to cost you a lot of money to, like, even get it. So focus on something like Zoo. Focus on, maybe Shaman. I think Zoo will probably be sticking around a lot longer than Shaman, just at its current state. And they're cheap. They're not very expensive, too. So focus on how much dust that you need for it, and focus on what adventures you probably need to get the key cards for that deck. I mean, a lot of it's basic too, so I mean, there at some point you need to buy basic cards too, to an extent. Maybe not Zoo. I guess Zoo doesn't have that many basic cards.
I think that's really good advice, ChanManV. Focus on one deck, dust the stuff you don't need for that one deck, and craft the most perfect version of that one deck you possibly can, and learn how to play it well. That's how you win.
Because the figured is pretty easy to get.
Focus.
The more you win, the more gold you get too. So there's actually
something to be said about grinding faster with the deck you know well. So the focus on one deck is even.
And the new players too. That's what they have no idea where to even start. So just focus one deck and go with that. There's some good beginner guides out there too. Like Shang used to make those great guides back in the day that were all free to play and great things like that. So hopefully that helps out. Let's see, next one, Davin Perry. He asked, do you think that the level of play has gotten better at every rank, or that the cards have gotten to a state where you need to buy premium cards from the current sets if you wish to climb the ladder? Do you think designers should create cards with potent synergies with the permanent cards for every expansion going forward?
For the first question, definitely yes.
Yeah,
players
definitely
have gotten better all across the board. People as time goes on, people are getting better at Hearthstone for sure, everywhere.
I mean, I got something told to me when I was at BlizzCon that surprised me. An Admiral came up to me and said, you know what, the future of Hearthstone is hand reading, which is like you try to figure out what your opponent's holding, and that's Hearthstone. I feel like that's always been Hearthstone. Like, if you don't keep track of the hand, what have you been doing?
How can you do it babbling book and swashbucklers?
No, but I mean, no, just like think about a consistent deck when there's no randomness. I feel like all the good Hearthstone players have been doing that. Either I've been like not looking at the game right, or I feel like most people do that. Like, I suck at mechanical play in Hearthstone for some reason. Like, I butcher the trades because I don't pay attention, and I just it just slides by me. But hand reading seems like a really cool skill to acquire, and I think that's the next evolution. Like once you reach a level where you're good, like Firebat, where you're good like the top 10 legend grinders, the next edge you can get is probably just figuring out what your opponent's holding. And that seems like once you've perfected that quote unquote mechanical skill, the perfect mulligan, you know the matchups inside out. Then once you learn hand reading, you're gonna get a lot better. And I'm told that right now one of the big things in Hearthstone is getting that edge, because there's so little edge to be found in gameplay because everybody's playing so well because they've played the deck so much. This extra edge is gonna get added, and suddenly, as you mentioned, in the question, people are gonna get even better, and you will suffer for it, and it's normal. It's just
I think his card is a little bit more in regards to like, do I need to buy these premium cards? And some of the top decks I think do have the latest cards. Some of them have legendary cards that you just have to add.
I mean, it's obvious. It's a card game. In the end, yes, better cards will help you to win more games. But that's card games. That's why we play them so much and so long, and that's why we have all the beautiful cards. And if you're new,
beautiful cards.
If you join Counter-Strike for the first time ever, you get shot in the head all the time too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that's a nice thing about Hearthstone. It kind of leads to the last question, which was there are a lot of different decks and there are a lot of different powerful decks, and all these again, you don't have to have them all. You just have to have one if you're trying to climb the ladder. And the last one is like, do you think the cards that they create, each of these sets or whatnot, should synergize with the basic card? The cards that are evergreen, basically, that stick around forever. Should it be there would be, I guess, motivation to do that, so that whenever a new set comes in, they can maybe synergize in a different way, and it doesn't just completely break things. Like you're taking out like a third of what like a dragon deck was, like when we were losing like BlackRock or something like that. Have them like specifically synergize with the basic deck.
Well, a redesign of the basic set would be nice to accommodate for that, right?
In theory, okay, in theory.
No, but the point is good. The question is really good, because of course we'd like the basic set to be synergized with, but there are some cards that unfortunately you just, synergizing with it is absurd. But there are some cards and expansions that have gone past that I wish were still available.
Yeah, agreed.
Stuff like Illuminator. Like I keep going back to that example, but it's such a cool card. And you can design around it. Like we're looking at Cabal Lackey, and we're looking at the Cabal Crystal Runner right now coming up in the next set, and there's no Illuminator that I can just play on turn 3, on top of Kirin Tormage. And that idea of designing basic set to synergize with the future expansions, I think, is the only reason you have a basic set in the first place.
Right.
Like that's the idea. Or at least one of the big reasons. So I agree with the idea that we should do that, and I think it's important that Blizzard redesigns some of the basic set to accommodate for that.
Yeah. Okay, how about we have a question for one more last question here, and I know there's like actually a few more too, so we'll have to pick those up next week. But Alexander Caruso asks, I just started hitting Legend recently, and since the new competitive season is starting this month, I was thinking of pushing for a top 100. Do you all have any advice on how to do this best? Should I try to get high rank soon, or does it really matter yet? What to remember, what to avoid? I mean, I think Zalae probably is the best to give advice here.
If you want to optimize your chance of finishing high, basically you want to try and get high early and stay high. You just
wake and bake.
Try and play a lot and win a lot, and be just
but don't wait till the last
play when
minute,
you're super focused. Right? Don't wait till the last minute. That's a thing that people do to like save themselves time, but it lowers their chances of succeeding.
Yeah.
So if your whole goal is to finish high, play a lot and play well.
So there's
the tier. Well, there's one. Play the tier 1 deck.
Yes,
that's mid shaman.
Actually, play the one
learn the mirror match. By the way, it's really important. It's like really important you learn the mirror match.
You're gonna see some of those.
It's such a common occurrence on the ladder. You should probably learn it.
So I've heard the theory, and I've heard on other just other players talking about it or whatnot. And Pony, I'm gonna ask you, because you play during this time. I mean, you stream during this time. Is that 7 to 8 a.m. range, I guess, here in the eastern side, like this super early morning, an easier time to play on ladder?
I noticed I play Mill Rogue, right? And it was like in the morning it went insanely good, and actually it was like win lose win lose win 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 lose lose. But then it suddenly at like around, let's say 1 o'clock, ladder gets harder. I don't know why. But it's like in the morning, I guess there are a lot of people that are sleepy or they just stood up, where they play like at 3 a.m. in the night, and you have an easier time. They do stupid things, or they play crazy stuff, or they concede earlier. Like they see,
they're on the bus, dude.
Innovate Emperor concede. Like
Cold Light Oracle concede.
Fed up. So it's like often it is really easier in the early morning.
That's actually logical, right? The early concede is logical in that metagame because the metagame is soft and easily beatable. So you don't want to waste a lot of time on a losing game. You want to get into that next easily winning game faster.
That's true.
So you concede faster.
So you can get the Innovate Emperor and watch the guy concede. So it's like the Nash Equilibrium makes it a non-issue. Like just ultimately no one wins.
That's so true. That's so true. All right, well, hopefully that helps you out, Alex. And thanks to everybody for writing in those questions. Keep them coming. Again, valuetown@chanmanv.tv is where you're going to be wanting to send your questions. But why don't we wrap up the show? Man, fantastic show. Awesome having you on, Pony, for the first time. Got to have you on again sometime, man.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure. Like, I did enjoy it. And it's always fun to talk about Hearthstone with just people that just love the game as much as I do.
Yeah. Any shout-outs you want to do, or where can people find you?
Well, they can find me here, probably here, like, every day almost, apart from like my one free day on Saturday. But like from tomorrow, 8 a.m. on German times.
Awesome. Yeah. If you want to see positive streamers, man, or just like cheery streamers, Pony's the guy for you, man, because I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it because I definitely can't do that.
Crack cocaine.
Crack cocaine. Yeah. All right, Zalae, shout-outs. Where can people find you?
You can find my Twitch, twitch.tv/ZalaeHS. Stream every day that I'm not traveling and not Thanksgiving. So, but yeah, check me out. Shout out to Team Luminosity. We're awesome. And thanks for having me. I love the show.
All right, Noxious, how about you? Oh, you're muted, man.
Nope.
You are muted. Oh, actually, what's going on here? Actually, you're muted. What's going on? No,
he's muted.
You're muted, man.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Sorry. I'm just on YouTube under Noxious GLHF. You can probably find me there. I stream sometimes, but these days I haven't been streaming much Hearthstone, so probably not worth very much. But Noxious_HS.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll round things out. Thank the three of you guys for doing the show today, and everybody that watched. You can find all the show VODs on youtube.com/ChanManV, and this one will be up soon after. All the folks on iTunes, it'll be available on iTunes a little bit later tonight. And you can. Anything else to really plug? Just go support the show at patreon.com/ChanManV. Again, it's the show is supported by you guys, and you guys will be the ones to responsible for keeping the show going in 2017. So go and check that out if you can, whenever you can. And we want to do that smile. We want to do that smile segment. Like every
can't give it away for free.
Exactly. We can't give away our smiles for free. That's just how it is. But that's gonna be it, guys, for Ponyhoff, Zalae, Noxious, and myself, ChanManV. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
See ya.